Rabbit Hole Roundup, episode 97, Top 5 Underrated Comedy Movies. So guys, in today's edition of the Rabbit Hole Roundup, of course we have the latest Top 5 segment being Top 5 Comedy Movies that have been underrated and also underappreciated.
Woo! It's electric in the air!
So it's come to my attention that certain movies just don't get the love that they deserve. Whether it's bad reviews or getting lost in the shuffle. So I'm here to bring these movies into the light, because these movies have me cracking up for days and I'm always quoting them. And I can almost guarantee that so many of you have never seen number 1 on my list, but it happens to be one of the funniest movies ever made, and it doesn't even require anything dirty or any cursing in it. Following that, I have a clip coming from Alex Rodriguez, aka A-Rod, that's coming from an interview that he did recently, where he says how having too much success too fast can actually be damaging, because it often overfuels your ego.
That's not gonna be good for anybody.
And I can definitely see what he's saying here, and maybe I'm actually blessed for having the slower path. After that, I have a clip coming from Quaison on Instagram, where he highlights rapper Ice Cube, that talks about how you need to be willing to put in 5 years with making no money if you want that ultimate success. And why so many people who we think did it overnight were actually training for several years. Then I have a post coming from Vex King on Instagram that talks about why good hearts always win in the end. It may take longer, but there are several wins happening beneath the surface, and there's a reason to believe that our time is coming. And finally, I have this week's NBA news as well as NFL Week 11 recap. So without further ado, let's dive deeper now.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jared Weiss. If you guys know it, must mean not subscribe to the channel, so you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, make sure to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts in the video. Follow me on every platform, and if you guys haven't done so already, make sure to check out my book, Fight Through by Jared Weiss. All links purchased it on my website, which is jaredryanweiss.com. That's JAREDRYANWEISS.com. Buy the book, support me, and make sure to check out all those some shirts in there as well. Every shirt has been designed by me, every shirt is made of 100% organic content, every shirt has its own motivational sayings on it. So any support at all, as I'm always saying, would be very much appreciated. So let's dive deeper into this week's rabbit hole now. So to start things off, this week's top 5 segment is, of course, top 5 underrated comedy movies ever. So my criteria for this has to do with whether it was low scores on Rotten Tomatoes or poor reviews overall, as well as just movies that got lost in the weeds and never really got the love that they deserve. So if you know me, I'm not into stupid funny. The whole kinds of raunchy humor always repulsed me. I prefer humor that can be shared basically among people of all ages. I don't like it when people can't think of a better word, so it just turns into a whole cursing fest or several drug references. I just don't understand that appeal. But of course, that's just me, to each their own. So don't be surprised when my top 3 on this list are all kids movies. Anyways, number 5, we have 50 First Dates, starring Adam Sandler. So that movie came out in 2004. So the premise is Adam Sandler, Henry, someone who's always dreamed of taking this boat trip to Alaska as part of his job, so he never gets too attached to any girls. But then he meets Lucy, who's played by Drew Barrymore.
I'm Lucy.
Yes, I'm Henry Roth. Nice to meet you.
And it turns out she has a disease where every day her memory gets reset. He falls in love with her while she keeps forgetting who he is. Now the funny scenes in this movie are of course the Asian guy who gets in the way of Henry and who makes fun of all of his attempts to get Lucy to like him.
That was pathetic.
Yeah, why don't you choke on your Spam?
Can I have that? I need something to wipe my ass with.
Hey, shut up.
Or of course you have the scene where Lucy beats up Rob Schneider with a baseball bat.
Holy! Oh!
Yeah, that's right!
Or you also have Nick, the big Hawaiian guy, who plays his bets with Henry every day. And this of course forces Adam Sandler to get super creative when it comes to all of his attempts.
You like the peanut butter cups? You want for me to put peanut butter cups in your eggs?
So anyways, a really funny movie that also has a really good positive message and an incredibly touching ending. And that's essentially my style of comedy. Funny, but with a purpose. Number 4, I'm going with the movie Accepted. If you're a high school or college student who disagrees with the way that the whole system is set up, just as I always have, this is the movie for you. This movie is absolutely hilarious, as you've Justin Long, Jonah Hill, Blake Lively, and Louis Black as the main stars, with supporting actor Adam Hirschman, who's hilarious as Glenn. and also the actor from Stomp the Yard, Columbus Short, I think is his name. So after not getting into any colleges, Bartleby Gaines, who's played by Justin Long, creates his own fictional college. Only problem is the whole clickable link, which was only supposed to be there like to fool his dad, actually works.
Do you know any places up near Harmon we can rent?
I carry around a list with me at all times of abandoned buildings for fake colleges.
So on the fly, B has to learn how to operate a college, and she also hires Lewis Black to be the principal, who's completely vulgar, hilarious, and doesn't care at all about anything like he says.
Buyers and sellers, pimps and whores, and indoctrinating them into a lifelong hell of debt.
You have Sherman Schrader, who's played by Jonah Hill, who's trying so hard to have the whole traditional college experience and like joins a frat, but he also ends up getting hazed all the time.
Guys, my brothers could be watching me right now. Just ask me about my wiener, please.
Why are you doing this?
And so he ends up getting roped in with the whole South Harmon Institute of Technology, which spells out you know what. And then the most random hilarious character ever, maybe Glenn, who got a 0 on his SAT because he didn't even spell his name right.
Some political crap. I got a 0 on my SATs.
And becomes a cook and who makes all these hilarious things.
Are you okay?
What? An explosion of flavor! I'm working some very unstable herbs!
Now also the final speech in that movie, which I've actually brought up on here in past videos, is one of my favorites of all time, as like it highlights how why does everything have to be done one way? And it talks about the truth in learning and how it doesn't only have to happen like in a classroom with ivory towers and everyone learns the same exact things. Not everyone has to fit the mold, and like not everyone has to be in this tight fitting box.
Just because you want us to be more like them, when the truth is we're not like them, and I am damn proud of that fact.
Because you rob these kids of their creativity and their passion. That's the real crime.
So once again, a silly premise that has an ultimate purpose behind it. Number 3, I'm going with the 2004 animated movie Shark Tale, starring Will Smith, Renee Zellweger, Jack Black, and Robert De Niro. I'm still like not sure as to why this movie didn't get better reviews.
No, I said, what? Like, what?
You said what first?
Now you're making fun of me?
No.
I still watch it all the time, and my brother and I can basically quote the whole movie. Oscar, aka Will Smith, wants to be a somebody so bad, and so he lies to become the Shark Slayer.
Remember this name!
Oscar the Shark Slayer!
With the help of Lenny, who's played by Jack Black, who's like different so his dad doesn't really accept him. And this pisses off the Don Lino, played by Robert De Niro. And it's hilarious because like it's an animated version of the mob, and the mob quote unquote runs the reef.
Do you know who I am? I'm the Don, the boss of the Great White Sharks.
Hey,
Oscar's lies catch up to him, and what he realizes is that lying to become a somebody isn't worth it if it means losing the people who you love. You also have Sykes, who's Oscar's boss, who answers to the Don, and thus is very hard on Oscar.
There's whale poo, and then there's you.
That's messed up.
So if Don Lino's squeezing me, he's squeezing you. What?
Anyways, it's a very funny quote-unquote kids movie that like people of all ages can relate to. Number 2, I'm going with the movie Heavyweights, starring Ben Stiller as well as basically all the kids from the Mighty Ducks, which also includes young Kenan Thompson. Now this movie might not be allowed today, even though like it's a kids movie. And in this movie, Ben Stiller was essentially training to be White from Dodgeball as well as the mean nurse from Happy Gilmore. Ben Stiller plays Tony Perkis, the director of a fat camp, Camp Hope.
Can you smell it? I see a famous rap artist.
Oh, well, thank you for telling me how to run my camp.
And this is what I love once again. A movie with 0 cursing, and yet you're laughing the entire time. Tony's like this over-the-top fitness trainer who makes the kids do all these ridiculous things in order to promote his product, the whole Perkis system.
Muscle weighs more than fat.
But the kids end up rebelling, and some of the funny scenes from the movie are where Tony goes, "I eat success for breakfast with skim milk."
I eat success for breakfast with skim milk.
You also have the whole, "Today's lunch has been cancelled due to lack of hustle. Deal with it." It's corny, but in the best way possible. Another kids movie that like you could go back and watch it, and you'll realize the whole comedic genius behind it. It's an absolute gem. And coming in at number 1, which also competes for one of my favorite movies of all time, or at the very least in the whole comedy genre, drum roll please, we have Kicking and Screaming. This movie has some of the best lines ever, and once again, didn't need any cursing to have you cracking up the whole time. And the sad part is, as I've discovered, so many people have never even seen this movie or even heard of it. So you have Will Ferrell, Phil, who plays the new soccer coach after his dad traded away his son to a new team.
I don't know, it may just be me, but I really got a feeling like we could catch fire and have a great season, huh?
And his dad, of course, is like an extreme competitor. So Phil teams up with Mike Ditka.
It's me and you against the old man?
I mean, there are other teams.
Gotcha! No smoking means no smoking!
And the team who essentially couldn't play before this brings in 2 new players, the Italians, who become the best players on the team and like who take over every game.
New game plan. Get the ball to the Italians.
Phil also gets hooked on coffee and becomes obsessed with beating his dad so bad.
Hurry up and order! What is wrong with you, Derek? I thought we were friends!
My name is Andy!
Your name is Liar!
And the parents in the movie are hilarious as well. I die of laughter every single time like I see Will Ferrell bringing the kids on the team as finches, which makes no sense. Or you also have him calling the lesbian parents on the team better than like all the other parents.
We're at every game, not like a lot of the other parents.
No, not like the other parents at all. Better. No, you're different because you're better.
You also have the crazed Will Ferrell telling one of the parents to run a lap.
Tuck in your shirt. What are you doing? Have a sense of pride, huh? In fact, why don't you take a lap?
I used to quote this movie nonstop when I was babysitting, as well as like back when I was a camp counselor, and all the kids could definitely vouch for that.
You know who you're talking to?
I'm talking to the juice box guy.
You're crazy!
I'm not crazy. I'm just thirsty.
So if you haven't watched any of those movies, I would highly recommend checking them out. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on my list. How did I do? And also let me know if I missed any. Next up, I want to share a clip coming from Alex Rodriguez, aka A-Rod, where he talks about why having too much success too early can actually be a bad thing. So let's watch together.
I've been in therapy now for over 10 years, and it's really saved my life, Craig. The one thing I will say is that I wouldn't wish on anyone in a weird way that you have so much success so early right out of the gates, because I think your self-awareness decreases, your ego increases. And personally, I just didn't have the tools to have so much so early. That opportunity of getting suspended, and now I didn't say that back then because it was a cringing experience, and you remember around here in New York, but it was a real gift to me because it allowed me to meet Dr. David, in which I talk about a lot, my therapist, who has since passed. He saved my life, and he gave me the tools of, as he called it, rewiring of the brain to help me in the back half of my, what we call the back nine.
So of course, I know, and of course all of us know that like A-Rod made some big mistakes in his life and like during his baseball career when it came to the whole steroids era cheating situation. But I think that what he's saying here is totally correct. Being hit with so much success right out of the gate is a lot to handle and like isn't exactly normal.
Normal, huh?
Yep.
And this isn't me making excuses for him. I'm totally against cheating, as like I'm someone who's always trying to do things the right way, and I'm also a lifelong perfectionist. But I can totally see what he's saying here and like where it all leads to. When you get handed so much so fast, you have zero foundation or any plan in place. So it becomes like, how do I keep this going? Hence the pressure in his case to become even better, so that this way like he doesn't disappoint the fans, or to ensure that like he earns the money that he's been given. And this is why, to an extent, while of course I know that like I'm deserving of more success, whether with my book sales or as a content creator, with my t-shirts or any of my journeys or any of my athletic goals, etc., it might be a blessing in disguise that it's taking me so long. Because the patience that I've needed on all these journeys not only translates into all other areas of my life, such as like my whole healing journey from a life-threatening illness, but it's also allowed me to build a foundation to get to know myself better as well as to constantly be learning more. I get the chance to experiment more and find out what works best for me. I get to build a genuine, authentic movement of people who truly resonate with me and my whole message. When people blow up overnight, they have no way of knowing how to handle it, and these people also don't know like what it feels like to grind. When you land at the top of the mountain, you have no way or no reason to build up the grit, resilience, and determination of the people who had to claw their way up for every single inch. So once again, while the slow grind and patience like that it takes can be very frustrating at times,
How long is this going to take?
I know that it's made me a better person, it's leveled up my content, and it's given me qualities that no one else could take away from me. I also get to appreciate every single comment and like every single follower I get, because I know how it feels to have nothing, and start and work my way up from the bottom. So with fast success, you start to feel like you're invincible, and that you can do no wrong, and thus it becomes harder to improve or maintain that success, because you think that you've already got it all. Slow success and slow grind keeps you humble, and always finding ways to improve, and like if you don't sell out and choose to stay patient, I believe in the end you do get rewarded. And going in line with the idea of a slow grind and patience for success, I have a clip coming from Quaison on Instagram where he shows rapper Ice Cube talking about how long you need to be willing to put in order to reach ultimate success. Let's watch together.
Yo, was Ice Cube tripping when he said this?
If you ain't ready to put 5 years of grind into anything without making a quarter, right? Don't even start, right? Don't even start, because sometimes it takes that long to get over the hump.
You see, a lot of y'all got the game messed up. Michael Phelps trained for 5 years straight without missing a single day, and that's why he got these. All of it. But the people that like to make excuses are gonna say it's all genetics. Prince recorded a new song every day for 5 years straight. Even when he was on tour, he had a recording studio in his tour bus. And that's why they call him a legend today. But the excuse makers are gonna say it was just talent. Real talk, the truth is,
do not complain about what you didn't get from the work you didn't put in.
So, let me repeat. If you aren't willing to go 5 years without making a quarter, don't even start. And of course, everyone's timeline is different. One person maybe gets there in 1 year or 2 years. Other times though, it may take 10 years. As I've told you guys on here in the past in other videos, because I'm so open with you about everything, I've been making content for 5 years and yet I'm still not monetized on YouTube. I post every single day and multiple times to multiple different accounts, and yet I still have to work a side hustle just to allow me to do what I'm doing on here and to go after my dreams. With my dunk journey at 5'6", it took me 10 years just to touch the rim, and another 5 to get back up there due to all my health challenges. And once again, I've been on my own healing journey for 10 plus years now. Great things take time. I know this as well as anyone, from my own experience. We've all been told this idea that like you can become a millionaire overnight, whether you could go viral just by doing this one thing, and unfortunately, some of these things do work in rare cases, so it tricks us into thinking that like, if we don't do it in that time, it must be impossible. But as Ice Cube said, which lines up with my story perfectly actually, if you aren't willing to put in 5 years without making any money, you may as well quit, because in the vast majority of cases, that's the level of commitment and sacrifice that's required. And especially if you're trying to build something that's real and authentic, and something that's built to last, it takes time. As that Lecrae post I shared a few months ago said, are you trying to create a moment or a movement? A moment is built on catching lightning in a bottle and following the trends, but as soon as that magic wears off, what are you left with? A movement, though, is built on hours and hours and hours of working on your craft. You can't cheat the process. You may be able to sidestep it temporarily, but without having an actual foundation, 99 times out of 100, it's not going to last and you're going to fail in the long term. Now finally, before I get into this week's sports recap, I want to read a post coming from Vex King on Instagram that talks about why good hearts win in the end. So the first slide says, a genuine heart always wins in the end because energy eventually comes back. Maybe good people don't always finish first in a world that celebrates speed, status, and surface level wins, but in the long run, they win in ways that matter. They win peace of mind, they win sleep that isn't disturbed by guilt, they win relationships rooted in truth, and most of all, they win alignment with their soul. A pure heart doesn't need an audience, the universe is keeping score. Energy's got a GPS. Whatever you send out, love or shade, it knows exactly where to find you later. A genuine heart doesn't chase good karma, it gives love for love's sake and trust that it will always circle back. You may not see instant rewards for your kindness, but don't stop being good. The universe works on divine timing, not instant gratification. Don't lose faith in your light just because others don't recognize it. The sun still shines long before the world wakes up to see it. Good people don't finish last, they finish with peace. Very well said, I love that post. So this has always been my belief as well, as I'm someone who's always lived by the golden rule of treat others how you want to be treated, and doing good for goodness sake, because that's like how we make the world a better place. And it's like the whole temptation and trap that so many people fall into, is this idea that you have to step on other people to achieve success, and it's told success by any means, meaning lie, cheat, and steal your way to the top. And unfortunately, this is so often what gets promoted in movies and pop culture, but once again, I've always been someone who lives my life by the golden rule, treat others how you want to be treated, and as Andy Grammer says, if nice guys finish last, save a spot in the back for me. So yes, nice guys might take longer, because we're doing things the right way and not the fast way, but that's how you attract genuine people who actually want to support you. You raise the collective vibration instead of contributing to all the problems. I'm someone who always preaches, be the change that you wish to see in the world, and don't copy people who have bad morals just to fit in. We achieve peace of mind though in knowing that we didn't have to knock anyone over to reach our goals. We just focus on doing everything for the right reasons. And when you keep a good, genuine heart, I believe that you can't lose in the end. Because you stayed true to yourself in a world that wanted you to believe that it wasn't possible to do so. So yes, it may take longer for us nice guys or girls to reach that whole mountaintop and to get what we deserve, but it will be the most fulfilling win when it happens. And as Vex King says, that positive energy has a way of coming back to you. It has a GPS and it's always going to find you in the end. The universe keeps the score in a way that we can't see, but it's an accomplishment to even stay good in a world that so often tempts you not to be. The universe, as he said, works on divine timing, so I believe that we're also being protected from things that we can't even see right now, but keep on putting that positive energy out there, even when we don't feel like it, or even when we're not seeing the rewards for it, because it will ultimately return to us and it will come back around. Anyways, on to this week's NBA news and an NFL Week 11 recap. Let's go now. So let's start with Week 11 NFL recap. So first up, let's start with the game that I was really looking forward to. My favorite team, the Green Bay Packers, went up against the Giants, who were starting one of my favorite NFL QB personalities in Jameis Winston. Because how could anyone hate on him? Yet again though, we had another game that was too close for comfort. And I'm not sure how confident I am in this Packers offense right now. But thankfully, Jordan Love came up big at the end, as did Christian Watson. Love did get hurt in the first half, but Malik Willis came in and actually threw a quick touchdown pass. Christian Watson had 2 massive touchdown catches in this game, and I'm pretty sure both were actually his first of the season, and they couldn't have come at a better time. Mike Parsons had 1.5 sacks for the Packers defense. Jameis Winston actually played a really solid game for the most part, I think. And of course, it's always going to be pure entertainment when it comes off his celebrations, as well as any of his pre-game speeches. But he played a mostly clean game up until the final throw, of course, which was in fact an ugly pick. But he did help keep the Giants in the game for most of the game. Anyways, my Packers got a much needed win to stay in that division race. The Panthers and Falcons were in a crazy game as Bryce Young went off. Whenever he versus the Atlanta Falcons, he just turns into Thanos. He went for 448 yards and had 3 touchdown passes, 2 to McMillan and 1 to Leggett. On the other side of the ball, Penix was actually having one of his best games of the season up until a knee injury, which is likely going to be season ending. Now I know that everyone on Twitter loves to hate on Kirk Cousins for some reason, but I thought the last drive he had to tie up the game, he looked really good, I think. However, it still looks to me like Raheem Morris doesn't trust him fully, or maybe he's still working through some things with himself. I personally think he's still got it. He's just build up his confidence back. Well, now he's going to have the chance to do that with Penix out, so I'm hoping he comes through. Bijan Robinson also had a big day on the ground, but the Panthers won 30-27 in overtime. Next, one of the best back and forth games I've ever seen, we saw the Bills beat the Buccaneers in a game that had 9 lead changes. Josh Allen, who threw 2 first half picks, actually had 6 total touchdowns in the game. He had 3 passing and 3 rushing. On the other side of the ball, Sean Tucker had 3 total touchdowns for the Bucs, and Baker had some big plays both through the air and on the ground. But it was the reigning MVP Josh Allen who had the final say in this one. Buffalo has shown weaknesses this year, especially when it comes to stopping the run. But when you have Josh Allen as your QB, you always have a chance. Now next will be the game that made me upset yet again. I don't know why I do this to myself, but I just love picking underdog teams who have an underdog player, and somehow these teams find a way to disappoint me over and over. So the Bengals lost again this week to the Steelers, and in part 2 of the unction, it started off the same way as the last one. Flacco had a big touchdown pass to T. Higgins, and Rodgers had a touchdown pass to Gainwell. But Aaron Rodgers unfortunately got hurt in this game towards the end of the first half, and he didn't come out for the second half. I'm hearing he may have a fractured wrist, but hopefully he's able to keep playing. Anyways, Mason Rudolph came in the second half, and became the latest quarterback to dominate the Bengals defense. I will say for most of the game though, their defense was slightly better, but of course it did revert to its mean. However, the offense just felt a little bit out of rhythm this game, for the first time since Flacco arrived. I think part of it had to do with the play calling, but the other piece to it, which I saw some people talking about on Twitter, is that Flacco's shoulder sprain is still bothering him, which of course in a windy environment is going to inhibit you from pushing the ball too much downfield. I also think the offense had so much going for them over the past few weeks up until the bye, so it's also possible that having the bye may have thrown them off a little bit. Whatever it was though, the Steelers D had a pick 6 off Flacco, and then the fumble recovery off one of the receivers for a touchdown too. I want to see Flacco win so badly, and yet his team just can't get it done. The Bears got their 7th win of the season against division rival Vikings on the game-winning field goal. I still don't trust this Bears team, and I still don't buy Caleb Williams, but he and that team just keep finding ways to win. JJ McCarthy an overall really rough game for the Vikings, but also Caleb wasn't really accurate either. Although he did come up clutch on that final drive, and the Bears' run game has been looking really good too. That Bears' defense has also been really good at forcing turnovers, and hey, they managed to prevail yet again. Another team to add to the list of teams who don't make any sense to me, the Chargers got absolutely destroyed by the Jaguars. A team who 1 week looks like this team could win the AFC, got blown out by another team who has great and poor performances. Justin Herbert had his worst game of the season, only throwing for 81 yards and he had a pick, while the Jaguars had 4 rushing touchdowns on the day, and the Jaguars improved to 6-4. The Texans got a big win against the Titans, as that team moves to 5-5. Davis Mills in his 2nd straight start filling in for CJ Stroud threw for 274 and a touchdown, and Nico Collins had 9 catches for 92 yards and a touchdown too. That defense though has been one of the best in the NFL all year. The Patriots beat the Jets 27-14 in the Thursday night game, as that Patriots team just keeps on rolling. Drake May keeps going as he was 25 for 34 with 281 and a touchdown, and 9 of those balls going to Stephon Diggs. Travion Henderson had another 2 rushing touchdowns in this game, and the Jets weren't able to give much resistance. The Broncos beat the Chiefs in yet another 4th quarter comeback, as that team wins their 8th straight game, and they're sitting atop the division alone. Now this team reminds me a bit of the Bears, but I do buy this team more for some reason. That Broncos team just keeps them around for long enough, and then Bo Nix becomes the 4th quarter finisher. I don't see him as top tier QB in the NFL just yet, but he's a really good football player and he's super clutch, and he's someone who, if he's on your team, you feel confident he's going to make the big throws at the end of the game. And in spite of Travis Kelce's huge touchdown at the end, the Broncos kicked another game-winning field goal, as has become customary for Will Lutz. The Rams-Seahawks, which I've been saying in recent weeks, I think the NFC West is the best division in football, so I was expecting more of an offensive shootout here, but we didn't exactly get that. Sam Darnold, who had mostly been flawless all season, threw 4 picks in this game, and yet his team still had a chance at the end. The Rams' D-line was pressuring him all day. Stafford threw 2 more touchdown passes in this game, with no picks, but even the Rams' offense got slowed down a bit in this game. However, they moved to 8-2 atop that division. Brock Purdy came back for the 49ers against the Cardinals, and he looked like he didn't miss a step. I was, of course, really liking everything that Mac Jones was doing up until this point, and there was talk about him being the starter going forward, but for right now, Purdy looked great. He threw 3 touchdown passes, and Christian McCaffrey had a big game as well. Jacoby Brissett actually set the NFL record for completions in the game in this one, as he was 47-57, and he set the record in the most random way as his team lost by a lot. The Ravens almost blew it against the Browns, as Lamar Jackson had a rare bad game as he threw 2 picks and didn't have any touchdowns. However, of course, Derrick Henry had over 100 rushing yards on the ground and a touchdown. And in a trick play, Mark Andrews had a rushing touchdown too. Of course, Myles Garrett was unreal on defense once again, as he had 4 sacks on Lamar. Now, of course, the other big news in that game that everyone's been talking about, Shedeur Sanders came in the second half for an injured Dylan Gabriel. And look, I'm not a hater by any means, but when you talk a big game and act like you've all this leverage in the draft, and don't want to go somewhere, and then you call out all the other QBs in the NFL, and then you have the whole mime nonsense during the interview, you better back it up. Now, of course, just to be fair, I've said it all year, the Browns team is a mess, it's not just one player, but aside from maybe 1 or 2 decent throws by Shedeur, he didn't look good at all, as he kept backing up in the pocket once again, and he was 4 of 16 with an interception. So if you're going to talk a big game and you don't back it up, you now have a target on your back. And hey, I'm all for confidence, but remember, there's a fine line between confidence and cockiness. And you can almost always sense it or feel it because one feels genuine, the other feels fake. It's like, for instance, whenever Kobe Bryant used to talk, that definitely felt like confidence. He knew his abilities, and he believes in himself. However, what Shedeur has done up to this point, to me just feels like cockiness. I know this is not a race thing. I'm so tired of everyone making everything about race. But it's like, if you're trying to be a professional quarterback and a leader, his actions up to this point haven't shown that. And of course, if your talent backs it up in the NFL, so often they are going to let it slide, especially if you're a wide receiver or a cornerback maybe. But at quarterback, you have to be able to lead by example. Anyways, hopefully this game humbles him. and shows him like he still has a ton of work to do in order to be ready to be an NFL quarterback. In the early Sunday window in Madrid, the Dolphins actually got another win, this one against the Commanders. Devon Achane had another big game with 120 rushing yards, and Mike McDaniel saves the job for yet another day. In the Sunday night game, the Eagles defense put on a show against the Lions, whose offense has been spectacular basically all season, and the always steady, efficient Jared Goff struggled mightily in this one. The Philly pass rush got to him, and their offense didn't even have to do much, but Jalen Hurts did squeeze in a few times to A.J. Brown. However, that one pass interference call on Rock Ya-Sin at the end of the game, even Chris Collinsworth, someone who would never say this type of thing, even he was saying how horrible of a call that was, and had that call not been made, Detroit would have gotten the ball back and a chance to win. Anyways, finally in the Monday night game, the Cowboys offense jumped out to like a super fast start and didn't look back, as Dak Prescott had 4 touchdown passes, as Pickens and Lamb both had big games, and the Raiders' struggles this year continue. Ashton Gentry only ran the ball 6 times for 7 yards in this one, and the Cowboys got the win 33-16. Now on to the NBA. So the first point I want to address, relating to a clip I shared last week talking about how the NBA did Mac McClung dirty. So, people don't always get things right. Not the experts, not the coaches, and not the scouts. And I know that, like, of course the people who said if he were an NBA player, he'd be on an NBA team were mostly well-meaning, but I just want to point out and emphasize how the NBA, or even most sports, it's not like golf. You don't just have the score being the score. There's always a million other variables. So taking this back to Mac McClung, when I say he looked great in the minutes he got, one game he scores 7, the next game he scores 12, and after that he plays 2 minutes and then gets cut. And of course I know like sports go way beyond just the stats and the numbers, but if you actually watch what he was doing, he definitely belonged. So it's possible for Mac to be an NBA worthy player, and you still may have teams who don't value him as such, for whatever the reason is, whether it's like not having the right connections, some type of bias, or his height, whatever the case may be. We have to acknowledge that like, people do make mistakes. I mean, if we're looking at the NFL, Jamarcus Russell was #1 pick. On the flip side, Joe Flacco was booed out of Cleveland this year. Everyone was calling him washed, saying like he should retire, and yet he goes to Cincinnati and puts up record-setting numbers throughout his first few games there. Nikola Jokic was a second-round pick. Austin Reeves went undrafted, and you're telling me that like people never mess up, and that people don't miss out on talent? Just some more points I want you guys to consider. Anyways, elsewhere in the association, over the past few days we did see some unfortunate injuries. Giannis hurt his groin last night. Wemby's supposed to be out for a few weeks with a calf injury. But on the bright side, LeBron James, King James, may even be returning tonight, or Tuesday night depending on like when this clip goes out. And I'm super pumped to see how he fits in with this current Lakers team, who, speaking of which, that team has been rolling, and has been shooting lights out. But first up, I want to give some love to DeAndre Ayton, who seems to be the perfect fit alongside Luka, and is just what the team needed after last year. He's currently averaging 16-8, but over the past few games has been closer to 20-10. Austin Reeves has still been putting up all-star numbers, as he's currently averaging 28, 8-5, and is shooting unreal from 3, and his confidence has been sky high. And speaking of lights out shooting, his sidekick Luka Doncic is currently the leading scorer in the NBA at 34 a game, and he's been spearheading the Lakers' charge. Now I also have to show some love to some of the other unks who are doing their thing in the NBA right now. James Harden has been playing some of his best basketball at 36 years old for the Clippers, as he's been going for 37-point triple-doubles. And it's unfortunate that like his Clippers team hasn't provided him with any help really, but his 3-point shooting and playmaking ability has been on full display so far this year. And his team struggles, I would definitely not put them on him right now. Also, while I can't stand the Golden State Warriors, I do have to talk about what Steph Curry's doing right now. So first up, of course, when some people cover him, so many of them like ignore all of his bad games and only focus on his great ones. But in that game against the Spurs over the weekend, he was unreal. He put up 47 points and 9 3-pointers, and was cooking in his second straight 45-plus point game. And these efforts put him alongside MJ in the special class of most 40-point games after turning 30. So hey, I do have to give him his props. Also, Kevin Durant has been balling out for the Rockets team, who've been looking really good as well. I'm not sure if we're ever going to see KD not be a good scorer. Also, everything that like SGA and the Thunder are doing is remarkable. This team takes no games off, and Shea is averaging over 30 plus while sitting out most fourth quarters. Now, of course, his game might not be as visually pleasing or as flashy as some of the other guys. He can score with the best of them and defends at a high level too. and he's right back up there near the top of the MVP ladder once again. Now speaking of which, Nikola Jokic might be playing some of the best basketball of his career right now. Every year you think to yourself, oh, he can't get any better, it's not possible. And yet he does it so effortlessly. His Denver Nuggets team has been much improved, and now have a solid bench as they have guys like Tim Hardaway Jr. as well as Jonas Valanciunas to back up Jokic. Plus Aaron Gordon has been playing great as well, and Jokic is putting up 55-point masterpieces and averaging close to yet another 30-point triple-double. Shocker. And one more team who I want to give some praise to is the Detroit Pistons, who've currently won 10 in a row. Jalen Duren has been playing at a super high level at center, Cade Cunningham has been playing great, and that team is looking super formidable in the East. Anyways, there's your sports talk for the week. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's get back to the video now. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, hope you guys enjoyed the topics. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you guys like what you heard, make sure to leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel. I will catch you guys next time. Stay positive, stay hustling, stay grinding, catch you next time. Peace.